Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. So today I wanted to talk about something that I can't really believe I'm making like a third video about this issue. It's almost like a deja vu. And that is the fact that, a lot of people who have said that when Cyberpunk 2077 finally releases, a lot of these other games that seem to have similar, categories, or let me say in the shooter niche, are going to basically die and people are going to lose focus on. And here is, November, and Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed. This doesn't just mean, that people who were playing their other games are going to stay in those other games. I think this means that other games that are going to be coming out in this same season will have to now, basically fight for the turf without the deterrent of Cyberpunk 2077, which I think would have been a juggernaut of a game if it had released by this, by this month. So you're looking at Call of Duty, you're looking at, Destiny's expansion, which is also going to be carrying a lot of players that are playing the RPG, games. But I think what that also does is it kind of secures a temporary assessment of Division 2 content and the Division 2 community just constantly playing the game. Because regardless of how you see the Division 2, the game does have a lot of content. It does have a lot of areas that can still be explored by members of the community. I know that, there are different concerns. I know that people are talking about enemy NPCs hitting hard and all of that stuff. But to be very frank, we have the player power to be able to mitigate a lot of these things. It's just, a few tweaks here and there. And the developers, they seem to be anti-fun. And sometimes they will go over here and nerf some capabilities that we have. But at the same time, we always find ways to prevail. Their game design philosophy, I don't know what is the, I would say, addiction to making the game really difficult currently. I think my only guess is that they have content that is about to come out and they don't want to get to the point where when they bring that new content out, they have to scale the difficulty. So I think they've taken the leverage or leeway, whatever you want to call it, to scale the difficulty up now so that when that content comes out, then they already know, okay, this difficulty level is something that players are already dealing with. And so I guess all of the, challenges that game development face, you could just say that now we're just in a place where it's like what we really did want was to be able to have a game that gave us a little bit of a break from the Division 2. Some people swore that they will go to Cyberpunk and never return to the Division 2. To be honest, I don't know how realistic that is, but maybe for some people it would have been. But I see that the Division community is still constantly grinding the game. I mean, I play on PC and my friends list is just constantly full of people playing at every moment of the day because there are people who still do enjoy and love playing this game. And now that Cyberpunk has still been delayed, it gives another, at least on the good side, 1 month for people to still constantly grind the game. And this is where the developers continue gathering data and continue working on content. So what are we looking at here with the future of this game? In my opinion, I think some things actually speak to some more content coming down the road. We already got the tease for the, the holiday season project or codename Nightmare. That's on the table. And I also see something past that date. I know the whole codename Nightmare is not going to be a big event. The reason I don't think it's going to be a big event is because, like I said, the holiday window is not necessarily the most, the later the window gets, it no longer becomes a prime time to release your video game, especially from the way games have been released. You probably want smaller games to leverage that window, and big games usually try to fight for the early, that early worm. If in the case of maybe November, that's usually when they usually want to bring out a lot of their games. Look at Spider-Man Miles Morales, look at Assassin's Creed Valhalla, also releasing, around this period, which is for some reason, a lot of these games did not do how they did last year. They were all wanting to come out much earlier, like September and October. But this year, because of the new generation, they want to kind of ride that wave of the marketing. They want to ride the wave of, all the hype and everything. And I think Tom Clancy's The Division doesn't necessarily want to throw its hat into that, but just wants to still kind of present something to the community for the holiday period. And then once all of this, talk about all these new games and consoles start to kind of like, diminish little by little, then we'll start seeing something along the lines of potentially a year 3 content piece that's coming in the future. And I think this is a very good strategy to use when it comes from a marketing perspective, because it really kind of lets people know what's ahead in the future. So even if Cyberpunk comes out in December, even if Cyberpunk comes out in 2021 Q1 or Q2, Division agents still know that they're going to have Division content that they want to go play. And to be very frank and to be honest with you, I know Cyberpunk 2077 is going to provide an exciting proposition, but I still think that the Division 2 still has a very, very solid place in the minds of a lot of the hardcore Division agents, or I would say dedicated Division agents. If I say something like that in this video, I probably will get a few comments that are speaking otherwise, but I get to play the game a lot, so I get to actually meet and actually run with this class of players. I mean, they are existing in the game. If for those of you who don't know, I took a 2-week break from the game to work on another project, and I came back today, and just the same old Division agents have just still been grinding the game almost daily and without even a hiccup, which is really amazing. And I was telling them, I was like, man, I've been gone for 2 weeks, but every time I look into the Discord servers, you guys are constantly there, enjoying yourselves, having fun, playing the game. And, I really feel like that's a very cool thing to see. I really do wish, though, that a lot more people could experience this regarding the way the PC community is much more tight-knit, and even the PlayStation 4 community is actually much bigger, in my opinion. You probably still have some elements of players playing back and forth, but this whole postponement of Cyberpunk 2077, I wonder what it's done for the Division community. Has it brought people back? Has it had more people kind of power on the game while they're waiting? Or do you think that, now that Cyberpunk has actually provided a little bit of disappointment, there is a little bit of a reality check from, what it means to actually have a game that is running, or a game that is constantly available, if you get what I mean. And that's one thing we have with Tom Clancy's The Division 2 is availability. Bring all the problems that you can with it, you still have the game available to access. And, on my other channel, I have a different channel, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are Batman fans, and I run that channel with a good buddy of mine, Mr. Fat Ninja DM. If you want to check it, the link is here on the channel. And we were talking about even the new Batman themed game, Gotham Knights, that's scheduled to come out in 2021. If that game itself is not facing some issues in its own development cycle, and maybe somehow everybody that brought their games and their IPs out earlier have probably sidestepped that whole cross-generation issue in regard to optimizing the game for this generation and then making upgrades. I think it's probably easier to make upgrades for your game, rather than have to optimize it for a less powerful system and a more powerful system while you're producing the game. I think that's a bigger challenge in my head somewhere. But so far, the developers will probably be dropping some, news, or maybe no news. I think maybe State of the Game that comes out this week, the first week of November, we might get some, some informational drops, or maybe we'll get nothing, as we're going on. But we do know that we have a content piece that's coming out this holiday, and it may come out in its own little vacuum if Cyberpunk does not get delivered. And what that means is, if the community is engaged in that, then it's a very huge selling proposition, I think, or a platform for them to be able to market what's coming in the future. And creating that excitement, I think, is a very good way that this Division team can leverage, the fact that they've had a game and constantly been working on their game, dealing with it, yes, making changes, in order for them to be able to at least, in some case, serve the community. While I believe that a lot of the, hands on deck are working on more Division content. I say this because I believe that the Division does have a lot more content pieces to be able to tag along with it with the Division 2. I know they're working on Avatar. I've been making Avatar videos for, a while, talking about the IP. So I'm not, how would I put it? I'm not unaware of this project, but I am aware that even though they may be working on that project, they have something on the table right now that is there to feed, and actually bring in profits for their studio. And there's no way they're going to abandon this particular project. So we'll see what happens in the near future. The State of the Games will probably reveal more about the whole Codename Nightmare, and we're looking forward to it. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think that, this is going to be the time that they actually, open up the floodgates of information? Or do you think they're going to continue to stay secretive about whatever it is they're working on? Because I think they're working on a Division content piece. Or do you even think that I'm crazy? I mean, sometimes people think I'm crazy for some of the things I say. And, to be very frank, I think there's a little bit of a truth to that. I may say some outlandish things, but time usually tells. All right. I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for your time and audience. And hopefully we'll see in another video. Peace.